What if the story of humanity's first big mistake was actually the story of our greatest hope? Today, we're going to explore the Quranic account of Adam, and it's a narrative that's less about a permanent fall from grace and way more about our incredible built-in capacity for a second chance. Okay, let's get right into it.
And this isn't just some ancient story, right? It's really a mirror that reflects our own journey. I mean, we all make mistakes. The real story, the one that truly defines us, is about what happens after. It's about recognizing the error, turning back, and finding that path to redemption that was paved for us from the very beginning.
So, to really understand the story of a second chance, we have to go all the way back to the start. And you might be surprised to hear that in this telling, it doesn't begin with a fall. Nope. It starts with a promise, a foundational relationship between humanity and the divine, something called a covenant.
Wow, this one verse is just so powerful because it completely flips the script. Before we even hear about a forbidden tree, we're told that, hey, forgetting is part of our nature, and that forgiveness is already on the table. Mercy isn't some backup plan, it's the entire premise of the story. This right here really gets to the heart of it all. It tells us that being human isn't about being perfect. It's about taking responsibility for our imperfections. Hope and the ability to course correct, those aren't add-ons. They're part of our original design. The goal was never flawlessness. It was awareness. Okay, so imagine a place of perfect peace, total abundance, where every single need is met. This is paradise, where humanity's journey begins. But even in this perfect setting, there was a test, just a single boundary that would have huge consequences and teach a really essential lesson. Can you just imagine that? A whole world of possibilities with just one rule. Now, was this some cruel restriction, or was it a lesson in the making? A lesson about that deep, deep relationship between freedom and responsibility and the nature of choice itself. And it's at this exact moment that the story takes a really dramatic turn. Two key figures emerge, and each one has a totally different response to the divine command. And in their choices, well, we start to see the seeds of two very different destinies. So this slide lays it all out, and the distinction here is absolutely crucial. On one side, you have what becomes Adam's error, a mistake that's born from forgetfulness. But on the other side, we have the sin of Iblis, or Satan. See, his refusal comes from a place of pure pride and arrogance, a conscious, deliberate defiance. One path leads to humility and getting reconnected, the other is just a dead end of rebellion. So, how did it happen? I mean, how? In this perfect place, did a moment of just forgetting lead to such a massive change? The story tells us it didn't start with a thunderclap or some big rebellion. No, it began with something way more subtle, a whisper. You gotta notice the psychology here. The temptation isn't a command to disobey. It's a subtle suggestion, and it's disguised as helpful advice. It plays on our deepest, most natural human desires for more, for permanence, for a life that never fades. It's a masterful deception, promising something better while leading to something so much less. And in that one moment of weakness, they fell for it. The promise of the covenant just faded, and the whisper of temptation won. It's a story that resonates with all of us, doesn't it? Because who among us hasn't been tempted by the promise of something more, something eternal, only to forget what truly matters? Imagine the sudden shock of that moment. 1 minute, you're in blissful innocence. The next, you're hit with this overwhelming wave of vulnerability and shame. Now, God's response isn't a bolt of lightning. It's a question. Did I not forbid you from that tree and tell you that Satan is your sworn enemy? It's a divine reminder, designed not just to punish, but to teach. This is the moment that changes everything. The mistake has been made, the consequences are real. But what happens next is what truly defines us as human beings. Are we going to run and hide, shift the blame, or are we going to turn back and ask for forgiveness? And in that moment of profound regret, they say a prayer that has just echoed through the ages. No excuses, no justifications, just raw, pure honesty. We have wronged ourselves. It's an incredible testament to the power of taking full responsibility and turning back to the source of mercy. This concept, Toba, literally means to turn back, and it's so powerful because it gives us a roadmap for our own lives. It's not about beating ourselves up. It's a tool for growth, a courageous spiritual U-turn that basically says, I messed up, I feel it, and I want to get back on the right path. And so, with this act of sincere repentance, the story takes another turn. The mistake doesn't lead to a final, dead end. Instead, it leads to the beginning of a whole new chapter for humanity. A chapter that's going to be filled with challenges for sure, but also with the promise of a new kind of guidance.
This is the promise that underpins the entire human experience here on Earth. We might have stumbled, but we are not abandoned. We are sent into this new world with a compass, with a guide, a source of strength that will always be there for us, no matter how many times we lose our way. And this is the cycle that all of us go through in our own lives, right? It's a blueprint for navigating our spiritual journey. First, we're given guidance. Then, it's in our nature to forget. But, and this is the important part, the door of repentance is always open. And when we walk through it with sincerity, mercy is always waiting on the other side. And so the story leaves us with a choice between two paths, two destinies. It's a stark reminder of the weight of our actions, definitely, but it's also a message of incredible hope. Because as long as we have the capacity to choose, we have the capacity to change, to learn, and to turn back. So what is the true nature of a mistake? Is it a dead end, or is it a doorway to a new beginning? The story of Adam suggests it's the latter. It's a story that reminds us that sometimes our greatest moments of growth come directly from our biggest stumbles. And that, in the end, is a message of profound hope for all of us.